stories are just anecdotes. They don't matter. But when I went to the Senate hearing a couple of months ago, there were 4 families telling their stories about this. And one particular story, Adam Raines, as you described, ChatGPT is not just making him feel better about suicidal ideation. No, ChatGPT was literally explaining how to tie a noose and how he could hang himself. Again, these are now 4 stories, but 4 more lawsuits are being brought forward against OpenAI for similar things. But OpenAI themselves, they admit that 0.07 of their users are talking to the system about suicide. Again, people like David Sachs would say, well, obviously, a moral panic. But OpenAI, ChatGPT, they have 800 million users. That means that 560,000 that they admit are talking to the system about suicide. How many of them are children? No one really knows. And another 2.5 million are exhibiting signs of AI psychosis. How many more that are not being picked up? Nobody knows. If you look at that company, Character AI, they have 20 million monthly users. And there are dozens of other AI apps that are basically exactly the same. They are trained to lure people in, to become friends, to give these systems their trust, and most of them are not age-gated. This is why people like the Florida Citizens Alliance, who I've been working with, are trying to push laws in Florida to bar any app from giving children access that are below 18, to bar any data scraping. These laws are going into place across the country, but people like David Sachs, people like Mark Andreessen want cover. And I think that they need to explain 2 things. One, if you believe that these stories are completely insignificant, if you believe that this is just a moral panic, then you need to explain why it is that there are so many people who have suffered under this, and the greater good of your AI project is more important than the suffering that these people are undergoing. You just need to explain it. You can't wave your hand at it. And the second thing they have to explain is, if these frontier companies are sincere in wanting to create artificial general and superintelligence and to replace every American worker, then David Sachs, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, all these guys, they need to explain then why it is that we should buy in, why it is that we should accept any of this, why we shouldn't not just regulate them, but completely reject them outright, which half of Americans want to do. And if they're just lying to gin up stock prices, if all of this is just BS to push forward a product that is not going to live up to any of it, well, then why are people like David Sachs and Ted Cruz and Steve Scalise, why are they running cover for a bunk product? It's one or the other. Either they're building a god and intending to replace every human worker, and along the way seeing children kill themselves and completely dismissing it, or what they're doing is selling a bunk product, and people like Ted Cruz, David Sachs, and Steve Scalise are running cover for them. It's one or the other. They have to explain this. They need to be pushed into a corner. Because if they aren't explaining it, then they're doing exactly what every politician in the history of American and world government has done. They are lying to you for power and money.
Yeah, we're not going to allow it. And Ted Cruz should be ashamed of himself, and his staff should be ashamed of themselves. Should be ashamed of themselves. Should be ashamed of yourself for what you're doing. And what we caught you the first time, and to come back again, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's obscene. I know we got to bounce here. I got a couple other things to get on. Joe, where do people go